name is Sean Gallagher. I am a water safety officer too here on the Big Island, and lifeguard service on the Big Island is run by the Hawaii Fire Department. I'm also a member of the HGEA, which is the Hawaii Government Employees Association. So for years, the lifeguards here on the Big Island, and I believe all over the state, were in what they call bargaining unit number 3. And in bargaining unit number 3 were secretarial staff, clerical people, and us. A complete mismatch of goals and jobs and all that stuff. And so the North Shore Guards, for years, to their credit, they tried to get a bargaining unit that reflected lifeguards. And I would say that's went on for like almost 7-8 years. And they were completely rebuffed every time. The powers that be on Oahu just was like saying, no, this isn't the time. No, this maybe next year. So it was always next year. So finally the North Shore Guards, God bless them, they got sick of that and they said, you know what, we're going to really put this thing together and we're going to mount a campaign and we're going to meet with the people directly and power and we're going to deal with this issue. We want our own bargaining unit. So for the last 2 years, they were making regular visits, house calls on politicians on Oahu, pushing this whole idea of our own bargaining unit. And so finally, because they are the North Shore Guards, people that everybody knows in the entire world and everybody looks up to, including the lifeguards on the other islands, they said, all right, we're so sick of you guys pushing this, we're going to give it to you, but you know what, we're going to add a condition. You need to be in with the DLNR officers and you need to be in with public safety. And the North Shore Guards and everybody were like, well, wait a minute, those guys carry guns. We're safety officers. Well, it's only going to happen 2 ways. Either you go along with these guys, we know it's a bad marriage, but take them along with you, or it's not going to happen. So apparently the powers that be persuaded the lifeguard services in all the islands to accept public safety and DLNR, despite the fact that we don't have that much in common, except I'm not sure what we have in common. But in any event, we all wear uniforms. So for the last year and a half, we finally had our own bargaining unit 14. And we tried to basically deal with the state, their negotiating team, and I was on the team originally. And so much of it was, you go in the room with these people from representing the state and you argue like we really need to get paid better, we need better uniforms, we need better, lots of things, better equipment. And it was always, how about 4%? No, we've done studies, California, LA County lifeguards in California make 25% more than we make. We want 30%. The state said, no, 4%. So every time we met, that was all it was, 4%. That's all we're going to give you. So finally, it came to the point where, well, what do we do? Do we accept 4% or do we take it further? And everybody decided, let's go to arbitration. So HGEA, in all their wisdom, hired a kick-butt law firm from California who were going to represent us, and arbitration went on for, I'd say, 3 to 4 months, and all of us were like waiting, holding our bated breaths, and everybody had signed off on this arbitration being binding. All the counties signed off on it, all the lifeguards signed off on it. We all said, whatever the arbitrators decide, we're going to accept it. And everybody, as far as everybody knew, that was going to be, whether we got 4% or less, we were all going to accept whatever they decided. And so lo and behold, they decided on a 16% raise, 4 times what the state was offering. And we were like absolutely tickled pink. People were going like, oh, finally we're getting some respect. And in some ways, respect is all about the money you make. And so as the day approached, or the month approached, that we were all expecting to get paid, we found out that Maui County, this tiny county over there, you can see that start. Maui County said, we don't want to go along with that. We weren't involved in the negotiations. We refuse to go along with this arbitration award. It's $1 million. Where are we going to get $1 million? People were going like, wait a minute, Maui County, one of the richest counties in the entire western states, is like saying they can't afford $1 million to pay the lifeguards who protect their tourists and basically keep that lifeblood of tourism going on Maui. They can't afford $1 million. So Maui's original intention was, we're not going to go along with it. And originally we all thought, okay, well, you know what, the Maui guards are going to have to basically deal with their own county, but at least we'll get our raises, which were at that point in time scheduled to basically come to us on July 15th. Until everybody read the contract carefully and the arbitration section in which it said one county, they don't go along with it. And when people found that out, people went nuts. I mean, North Shore guards, they were like going, this is unreal. One county's going to unravel this entire thing. And it turns out that that's exactly what the Attorney General's opinion said. So North Shore guards were going like, this is insane. We've been working on this for 8 years, and it all comes down, potentially crashing down because of one tiny little island called Maui, because they don't want to go along with this award. And they were like talking about, okay, we're gonna have a sick day. We're gonna call a strike. This was like the first couple of days after we found out that this could actually happen, that we would not get paid. We were not going to get our pay increase as we expected on July 15th. There were some people on every island that were frankly a little bit upset and really felt like it was something bigger than David and Goliath. Here we were, we felt like we were puppets being yanked by a string from the powers that be, and a lot of people didn't really know what to do. So we felt like, well, we've never been involved in this. How do we persuade these people on Maui to basically go along with this arbitration award? They've already pretty much dug their heels in. Apparently, people went from the North Shore Guards on like some type of peace mission to see, well, what is the holdup here? What are you guys concerned about? What are you worried about? And one of the lifeguards came back, Melvin Poo, the famous Melvin Poo. He was telling people, you know what, it doesn't look good. It does not look good. These guys have their heels dug in. They do not want to pay. It looks like they're going to be consistent on that opinion. And we didn't know how we were going to persuade them otherwise. People came up with the idea of petitions. Okay, so we took petitions to the beach, we had people sign them, hundreds and hundreds of signatures of visitors saying, what, you guys, that's the number one thing you guys need is more money. People were thinking, okay, how about if we have a delegation of lifeguards from all over the state go and visit with them? We literally did not have a concrete idea of how to go about this. And a lot of us really felt this thing is like, it's like sand running through our fingers. It's like escaping us. All this hard work, and it's all going to be unraveled because of one tiny county. And that's when I came up with the idea of contacting Civil Beat. So we had learned that Maui was going to have a meeting on Wednesday, and that the council was going to meet in full, and they were going to basically take witness testimony, and it was going to be like a full-blown hearing, and which the people were thinking, okay, we'll hand them the petitions, we'll have veteran lifeguards from North Shore come and testify. And I was like going, okay, what could I do? What could Sean Gallagher do to help this process along, to persuade Maui to basically see the error of their decision, and that they needed to go along with this arbitration work because it was a fair thing to do, it was a just thing to do, it's what the lifeguards deserve. And I was laying in bed on a Sunday night with their meeting being on Wednesday, and I sat up and I said, I swear, this sounds so fake, but I sat up and I said, I'm going to contact Civil Beat. So I lay in bed and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to write that Nathan Eagle guy. He wrote a really good series of articles about drownings in Hawaii. And I got the impression in reading the articles, they were fascinating, by the way, all about snorkelers getting into trouble in the islands of paradise and sometimes drowning. And why wasn't more being done about that? And so in reading the articles, I got the impression that he had a fairly good opinion of lifeguards and what they do here in Hawaii. So I decided I would write him. So on Monday morning, I got up and I wrote him this very detailed email explaining the entire situation to him and what I was hoping to accomplish and what I thought Civil B could maybe do. And then I realized, oh man, this is Monday. The meeting's going to be on Wednesday. How is he going to put this all together? So I write him this email, and I get this email back. Sean, I'm going to look into it. And even though I kind of had this sense that he was telling me the truth, I was still thinking, well, how can he put this all together and have it in front of the people by Wednesday? So, I was flabbergasted, flummoxed, whatever you want to name it, and maybe not quite so sure that Nathan was going to pull this off. And sure enough, I get this email at 4 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. Sean, read the article. And lo and behold, and I wrote the title down. What did I do with that piece of paper? Oh, this was the title of the Civil B article by Nathan Eagle. Maui's decision on lifeguard pay may scuttle statewide deal. And I thought to myself, holy crap, Nathan did it. And it was absolutely amazing. And I wrote him saying this is another example of the power of the pen. And sure enough, that day the committee reversed themselves and said, all right, we're going to go along with this award. Even though we feel that we weren't involved, we're being dragged into this, we feel we're going to go along with it. And we're scheduled to get the pay raise on July 15th. And in my mind, not only is Civil Beat responsible, but all the hard work of the people that went up there, all the petitions we gathered. We had people on megaphones saying the lifeguards need to have pay raises. If you feel that way, come up to the tower and sign it. I didn't do it, but I heard other people did. And I'll leave it at that. In some ways, it's every lifeguard in California's dream to basically come to Hawaii, be a Hawaii lifeguard. They set the bar for the rest of the world in so many ways, and how to basically act as a lifeguard, function as a lifeguard, rescue as a lifeguard. And it took me 2 years to land this job. I passed all the tests, 2 years. And I got to tell you, in the almost 11 years I've been working here, these are the finest lifeguards I've ever worked with in my entire life. And that's only on my island, the Big Island. You talk about the North Shore guards, they're probably the finest lifeguards without a doubt in the entire world. Their job is so unique. The problem that all lifeguards have is that the powers that be, the people that sign our check, the people that make sure what we get paid, they don't really understand and appreciate what it's like to be a lifeguard here in Hawaii. What it's like to see somebody out in the ocean in trouble on a big surf day, and there's no chance for you to worry about scene safety. You and your partner just have to go. And there's not a whole lot of thinking, there's not a whole lot of pros and cons. You don't have the liberty of going like, let's wait for backup. We need to have a plan. You just got to go. And the North Shore guards, they have perfected that. They have perfected the concept of using jet skis, the greatest, as some lifeguard would say, the greatest invention or the greatest change in lifeguarding in the last 50 years have been the use of jet skis in the rescue service. And I really can't tell you what it's like to work with the men and women that I work with, knowing that if I was to go out there in a rescue and I got in trouble, I got into some situation over my head, I know deep down in my heart, deep down in my soul, my partner's going to come out here. That's just the way it is. And this job, if you're married to a lifeguard, I think a lot of people wonder if their spouse is ever going to come home, especially during the winter and especially during the south swells in the summertime. It can be a frightening job, and sometimes when the surf is really big and you have to go out, there is definitely what they call the pucker factor, where you wish that maybe you were somewhere else that day, but you don't have that luxury. You just have to go. And I think when the people refused to go along with our arbitration award, many guards, including the North Shore guards, took it as a slap in the face. It was something that all of us, every lifeguard in the entire state, worked hard to accomplish, and it was in some ways the epitome of respect from government, and that's a pay raise that basically comes close to what we feel we deserve. And frankly, the middle class in Hawaii is being squeezed. And if you want lifeguards to be able to live and have a life and basically continue going to work and going to work with a good attitude and going to work with a positive attitude that I'm going to give 110% of myself today because my county cares about me or my fire department cares about me, then it's all about paying them the appropriate amount of money. You know, some of the lifeguards who have been here longer than I have, guys who have been here for 20 years, they'll tell you that when they first started, we had salaries that were commensurate and similar to what fire was making, very similar to what police were making. But in the last 10, 15 years, we've fallen so far behind. We're now, I would say, 50% behind our police and firefighter brethren. And it shouldn't be that way. A lot of lifeguards feel that what they do is as important as what firefighters do, is as important as what the police do. And many lifeguards feel that what we do is more important than what police and firefighters do. We don't sit in a station waiting for things to happen. We're out on the front lines. Lifeguards are out on the front lines protecting people, preventing people from injuring themselves or being injured by Mother Nature, which here in Hawaii happens a lot. And so people began to feel, well, we deserve pay parity with them. Why aren't we getting pay parity? And for years, we've argued that we deserve to get at least what firefighters get and what police get. And it seemed like every time we made that argument, it would fall on deaf ears. Nobody was listening to us. I also want to reiterate what an honor and a privilege it's been for me to work with the men and the women that I do in the lifeguard service. They bring their A game to the job every day. And the people who come to visit the Big Island and the people who come to visit the state of Hawaii, they know that they're going to go in the water and they're going to be protected.